While searching on YouTube to find a video explanation for a friend of mine about the Hebrew calendar, I was somewhat dismayed to find that there wasn't one. So I took the next logical step and decided to make one myself. When we say the Hebrew calendar, we are referring to the calendar by which the Jewish holidays are determined for their observation. Unlike the solar calendar, which most people use for secular use, the Hebrew calendar is based on the cycle to the moon, which has to be modified periodically to keep it in sync with the solar calendar. I'll go into those details as we go along. Basically, the cycle of the moon has been calculated to be approximately 29.5 days. If you want the precise number, it's 29.5309 days, which means that in effect we have alternating months either of 29 or 30 days. It means that the Hebrew calendar year typically is 354 days, which are 12 cycles of the moon. But because we're told that Passover has to be in the spring, we'll then add the extra month, so that Pesach will always stay in the springtime. We add this extra month 7 out of 19 years, or to be more precise again, on the 3rd, 6th, 8th, 11th, 14th, 17th and 19th years. To know where we stand on the cycle, all you have to do is to divide the current year by the number 19, this year being 5774, you'll find that we're in the 17th year of this 19-year cycle. Because we've already said that we're working on a predetermined calendar, we can make certain modifications to make sure that certain holidays don't fall on certain days. An example would be that we don't want Yom Kippur to fall out on a Friday, because that way we wouldn't be able to prepare the Sabbath food. So in addition to the regular cyclical nature of the calendar, periodically 1 month in the year Cheshvan will have an extra day, or the month of Kislev will have a day subtracted. Because we're working on a fixed system, the calendar relative to the sun is actually advancing, or going back in the year by 1 day every 231 years, which could mean theoretically that Passover instead of falling in the spring, is going to occur in the winter. There's a small debate going on how to remedy that, but so far no conclusions have been reached. Now, originally, and when once again in the future the body known as the Sanhedrin is in existence, the new moon will be declared by two witnesses coming forward and declaring that they have seen the new moon. But as I said, for now we work with a fixed calendar that will tell us when the new moon is. Also part of the fixed calculation is at the time of the start of the new month being announced, something called the Molad is also announced. This again is a fixed mathematical calculation as to the appearance of the new moon based on Jerusalem time. The announcement is usually made in the synagogue on the preceding Saturday, so we will be told when the Molad will be and when the new month will start. But because of the nature of the calendar, the 29 or 30 days being the doubt as to whether it will be the actual start of the new month, we play it safe, as it were, by on the months that have 30 days, we'll also call the 30th day the new month, but we won't actually start counting until the 1st. One of the other interesting aspects of the calendar is that based on the days of Passover, we can determine which day of the week we will find other holidays throughout the year. This is done by a system called Atbash. If you don't know Hebrew, it sounds a bit more complicated than it is, but basically we match up the first letter of the alphabet with the last, the second letter to the second to last, etc. So based on the order of the days of Passover, going through in alphabetical or numerical sequence, because for Hebrew counting you can use the letters of the alphabet, and then in reverse order the days of the holidays. So for instance, the first one, Aleph, will match up with Tisha B'Av from the last letter of the alphabet. The second day, Shavuot. The third day, Rosh Hashanah. The fourth day, we fudge our usual meaning of it, but we call it Kriyat HaTorah, Bakub. The fifth day, again we usually say Yom Kippur, but we can say Tzom Kippur. The sixth day, we have Purim. Now this is a system that was drawn up hundreds of years ago, and it left a blank for the seventh day of Passover. But by, I believe, more than coincidence, the seventh day turns out to be Yom Atzmaut, or the letter Ein, the seventh from the end of the alphabet. Well, that's a brief roundup of what the calendar is. If you're not sure where you are in the Hebrew month, it's very easy to look up at the moon. It won't give you the exact day, but it will give you enough of a approximation that when you know a holiday is coming up, you'll just check on the calendar to see which day of the week it falls. Because so often people will say, what date is such and such a holiday? Because it's true, relative to the solar calendar, the holidays do seem to jump around a lot. In reality, they all have fixed days. You just have to learn the names of the holidays when those particular dates are. The only time that some of the holidays are moved, and basically it's the post-biblical, we'll shift them around so that they won't coincide with the Sabbath. But that's basically a minor detail in the construction of the Hebrew year. In a follow-up video, I'll go into more details of the intricacies of the calendar. But for now, I hope this gives you enough of a basis to understand what's going on.